Scream, shout, whine, cry, call your mommy. Nobody really cares. Remember those old super glue commercials where the guy super glued his head to a board? You could do that. Still, things are not going to change. You will be wrong, and I will be right. Okay, so, we've got... yes, we've got... we got a lot. We got a lot of catching up to do here. First of all, things drugged to a virtual standstill as I attempted to solve technical problems with my website. It refused to properly play real media format files. So therefore, to make a long story short, stating the obvious, has now been converted to MP3 format. And, maybe in the end, maybe that'll be better, because that should make it easier. Well, hopefully, that will make it easier for people to listen to these without the need for a proprietary software such as provided by Real Media. And so there we go. And yeah, wait a minute. Let's see, is that going to... that makes all the difference. Yes. Okay, now we have the question. Yes. See, now we have the question. Since we've now corrected the technical problem, do we just keep recording, or do we start over? It's these are the dilemmas. These are the dilemmas. I have no clue how that setting got like that. I didn't do it. But we are. It came out, right? It recorded, right? Yeah. Well, we are recording. Alright. And there's the computer. By the way, dropped by the Air America Radio website. They are proudly proclaiming they are now up to 40 stations nationwide. Woo! Liberals kill me. And according to this, what's on now, it's 7 to 10 p.m. and the Majority Report is on. And coming up next from 6 to 7 is Ring of Fire. Now, last time I checked, 6 to 7 p.m. cannot come up next after 7 to 10 p.m. And also it happens to be 4 p.m. So, what is going on? And these people wanted to run the country. They can't run a website. They wanted to run a country. Meanwhile, at foxnews.com, there's a banner advertisement for a Christian dating website. That's pretty funny. Yes. And there's a picture of Whoopi Goldberg. I don't even read the caption. I just hate Whoopi Goldberg. And Rush Limbaugh is having convulsions because of the NFL is adding pop culture to their football games. Well, gee, Rush, it's a marketing scam. Oh, and wait, on the Rush Limbaugh website, it says, Appeals Court agrees to send Rush Limbaugh's medical privacy case to the Florida Supreme Court. I'm sorry, why don't we put Rush Limbaugh in jail? Isn't he one of the people who says that you're supposed to put people who use illegal drugs in prison? Isn't Rush Limbaugh in favor of the war on drugs? The war on people, because you can't have a war on drugs. Like if you have a marijuana cigarette and it's sitting there on a table, how do you have a war on drugs? You can't have wars on inanimate objects like drugs. You can't have a war on a ideological concept like terrorism. You can only have a war against people. So, I think it would be better if a DEA agent busted into Rush Limbaugh's studio, put his head down on the ground, stepped on it, and stuck a gun in his face, and after they finished harassing him, they took him off to a federal penitentiary. And if of course, Limbaugh had any intellectual integrity and honesty, he would, of course, believe the same thing. Of course, it says here, too, that Friday's guest host, Dr. Walter E. Williams, I missed it. Or wait, or maybe not. Friday handled. It says Open Line Friday handled Past tense, that means I missed it. Walter Williams apparently hosted Limbaugh's show on Friday. For those of you not familiar with Walter E. Williams, he is a genius. An absolute genius. Now, let me get back to the recording software. And we are still recording. Alright, you know what? We're going to plug on, in spite of the technical difficulties, especially since I've already talked for 5.5 minutes. I am brewing a cup of hot tea. We're about to have that ready. There we go. Oh, that's lovely. Now I'm about to stand by, listen for the effects. That was the sound of me lighting a responsibility stick, otherwise known as a cigarette to those of you who are idiots. What? Should? Yeah, I probably should, but not today. We don't have time. We don't have time to talk about smoking right now. I'll cover that some other time. And I can't drink hot tea with a microphone in my face. We've got a lot to cover. Okay, that goes aside for right now. Let's. I'm simply taking things off the stack. So then, not necessarily in any particular order. We're going to go back in time quite a bit here because we've got some things that need to be talked about. As I said, this is not a news of the day. We do not pretend that we're up on current events. We talk about ideas, not what happened in the last 5 minutes. Because we are not Democrats, we do not have a short memory. Now, something that's, if you're ever trying to tell the difference between somebody who's a Republican and a Democrat, here's another thing I've noticed. Democrats can tell you everything that happened within the last week, but they have no clue at all about history. You ask them about something that happened 3 years ago, they can't remember it. Ask them, do you remember, like, for example, Ronald Reagan whipping the shit out of Walter Mondale in the election? They don't remember that. If you ask them, well, do you remember Bill Clinton only getting 49% of the popular vote, and yet you people claiming that he had a mandate? Well, see, no, they don't remember that either. But they can remember that, George Bush only got 51% of the vote, which is more than Bill Clinton ever got, and that by their weird mathematical definitions, that's not a mandate, whereas when Bill Clinton gets 49%, that is a mandate. No, I'm serious. I read, this is what I heard, okay? There was, where did I hear this? Where did I read this? I can't remember. Somebody said the reason that Bill Clinton had a mandate with only 49% was because of Ross Perot. Yes, because Ross Perot was in the election. That meant that Bill Clinton's 49% was a mandate. Now that's Democrat math for you. The October 31st, Coloradoan. Professor kicks... yeah. Sorry. A little private. Oh, and okay. First of all, see, I forget to. All right. Well, no, we're saving the best for last. There you go. I always forget to give out the email address. Remember, you can send your feedback to Stating the Obvious. You send your feedback to STO. Sierra Tango Oscar, for those of you in the military, as I was. STO at 204eastsouth.com. I'm always forgetting to tag the email address, because the email address is not written anywhere. Only to be found if you actually suffer through listening to one of these. I know! There's people out there right now going, my God, this man is demented. I know. I want to find the poor people that actually listen to these things. I kind of feel sorry for them. Okay. And as I said, I'm saving the best for last. In the engineering booth over there, taking care of things and trying to prevent me from doing stupid stuff. Like, for example, having the input for the computer set to the wrong thing instead of set to microphone, is the lovely and adorable Randi, who is still happy about George Bush winning because she is a little conservative babe, which I guess is better than a commie babe, but not by much. It's true, honey. Yes, your politics are fucked up, but you are adorable, and that's what matters. Yeah, that was not sexist. All right, I'm being accused of sexism already. I see that. Yes, we're almost 11 minutes into this. We haven't actually talked about anything important yet. Well, see, this is what happens when I've been away from the microphone too long, dealing with all the technical problems. Now I'm just blah 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 blah. October 31st, Coloradoan. Professor kicks student wearing GOP sweatshirt. Now, keep in mind. Now, this is a liberal Democrat professor kicking. That means he made contact with his foot. He kicked a Republican student. Now, let's just keep in mind, what would happen if a Republican professor kicked a Democrat student? Well, I mean, yeah, I know the student would deserve it. They all deserve it. I'd like to kick all the students. I don't care who they vote for. And I read the article. Durango. A part-time college instructor has apologized for kicking a student wearing a Republican sweatshirt in an off-campus incident. Well, at least it happened off-campus. I mean, at least it wasn't in a classroom. But I mean, what they do, what a professor does off-campus is his own business. If you want to be a communist when you're not on campus, that's great. Who cares? Fort Lewis. Right. I mean, if they want to be communist on their time, I don't care. It's when they're communist at school that I get ticked off. Fort Lewis college student Mark O'Donnell said he was showing people his college Republican sweatshirt, which said, "Work for us now or work for us later," when Maria Spiro kicked him. Work for us now or work for us later. I can see how that would piss off. Well, what probably pissed her off as being a Democrat was the implication that she might have to do work. Because remember, the main occupation of Democrats is being welfare recipients. Yeah, I mean, work is a dirty word to these people. After kicking him, Spiro said, what? What? This is not a sentence. Hold on, I have to read this again. This is an Associated Press article. This does not appear to be a sentence. Oh, this is a he said, she said thing. Who teaches these people to write? After kicking him, Spiro said, quote, "She should have kicked me harder and higher," unquote, O'Donnell said. Spiro said, O'Donnell said. Donald said, Spiro said, what? In a police report, O'Donnell said Spiro kicked him in the right calf. Durango Police Sergeant Mitch Higgins said Saturday that O'Donnell wanted to press charges against Spiro and a misdemeanor summons would be issued. Good. That's actually, you can't go around, I mean, I wish we could go around kicking people. God knows there's a lot of people I'd like to kick. But you're not supposed to do that kind of shit. And Democrats are the first ones who talk about rights. So alright, don't even get me started. Oh yeah. Randy's reminding me I'm supposed to be talking about politics. It's okay for me to get started. I forgot. David Epich, assistant, I don't know if that's E-P-P-I-C-H, Epich. David Epich, assistant to the president of the college, said the college has formally apologized for the incident. Quote, "I acted entirely inappropriately by kicking you, giving vent to a thoughtless, knee-jerk political reaction that should have never happened. I apologize for my untoward comments. Before the incident, I did not know you, and that you are a Fort Lewis student. I am entirely sorry. I am ashamed of my behavior, and I hope you will accept my apology," Spiro said, unquote. Spiro said in a letter to O'Donnell dated October 29th. O'Donnell said the apology wasn't enough and planned to file a complaint with the college. I mean, this is... again, this is... hot tea. Yes. This is typical liberal Democrat free speech. You're going to kick somebody because they have a t-shirt you don't like. Well, and it's the principle that these people are the ones who run around talking about free speech all the time. They just don't want to practice it. Yeah, and you can certainly find the same fault with Republicans, but it's right. Exactly. See, Randi knows what's going on. As Randi's pointing out, Republicans don't usually bring up the free speech thing as often as Democrats do. And it's true. The free speech First Amendment is always the first recourse of Democrats. And I've always said, and I probably always will continue to say, that Democrats believe in free speech as long as whatever you're saying is something they agree with. If you say something they don't agree with, you need to be silenced. And suddenly your speech is not free anymore. This is from October the 10th. This is ancient, but we need to touch on this. Well, yeah, I got stuff a lot more ancient than October the 10th around here. Yeah, I got never never mind. Yes. Bryant's accuser admitted lying about aspects of sex assault case. Now, you know, these rape things, these rape cases always get me fired up. Because and there's an essay on this site about some rape cases that took place at UNC when I lived in Greeley. In one of which where the girl eventually admitted that she made it up, and another one where the girl never admitted she made it up, but I still to this day believe she made it up, because the particulars of her case are simply impossible. And the reason I get so bent out of shape with this rape stuff is that just because a woman says she's been raped doesn't mean she's been raped. And I'm not even talking about defining rape, because remember, some people, for some people, rape means they would define rape as a man forcibly having a woman to have sex, like for example by tying her up or by holding her at knife point or gun point, or by drugging her and taking advantage of her while she's unconscious. For some people, of course, rape is defined as a woman being forced to have sex when she really doesn't want to. So say, for example, a man and woman are married. The man wants to have sex that night. The woman, she's not really into it. She'd rather watch Johnny Carson or Jay Leno or whatever. And finally, she just agrees to have sex with him so he'll shut up and leave her alone. To some people, that constitutes rape. And of course, there are some people, a lot of feminazis out there, who believe that any time a man and a woman have sex with each other, it's rape. So we're not, I'm not even talking about defining rape when I say that just because a woman says she's been raped doesn't mean she has. What I'm saying is, believe it or not, women are capable of lying, just like anybody else. And just because a woman says, I was raped last night, that doesn't mean she was raped. It doesn't even mean there was a man within a mile of her. It doesn't even mean that she had physical contact with another human being in the last 40 years. It just means she says she was raped. Sometimes women lie for all sorts of reasons. A couple of back to the article here. This is a short passage here. The woman is this is a quote from the accuser in the Bryant rape case. Quote, I told Detective Winters that on the morning while leaving Grand Junction I had car troubles. That is not true. When I called in late to work that day, that was the reason I gave my boss for being late. In all reality, I simply overslept. Unquote. The woman wrote that she was, quote, very sorry for not telling the real reason why I was late to work that day, unquote. She then went on to correct another misstatement that Bryant forced her to wash her face after their encounter in his room. Quote, I am extremely disappointed in myself and also very sorry to anyone who was misled by my mix-up of information. While there is no excuse for that mix-up, I said what I said because I felt that Detective Winters did not believe what had happened to me in reporting this crime. One of my fears was that I would not be believed. Unquote. Now, let's take a look at the woman logic. Let me read this to you. She says, I said what I said because I felt that Detective Winters did not believe what had happened to me. In reporting this crime, one of my fears was that I would not be believed. She was afraid she would not be believed. She was afraid people would think she was lying, so she lied. And we're talking about that she lied about being raped in the first place, but a lie on top of that. She lied about washing her face, being forced to wash her face. Now, this is woman logic. I'm afraid people will think I'm lying, so I will lie. This is woman logic. What in the hell is wrong with you? Hot tea. By the way, here in the People's Republic of Fort Collins, it snowed yesterday. We got about 3 inches on the ground. Actually, I mean 5 inches on the ground. Because you see, some of you out there, you might think I'm lying when I say that there's 3 inches on the ground, 3 inches of snow. So, because you might think I'm lying, I'm going to tell you that there are 5 inches of snow on the ground. Because I'm so afraid that some of you may think I'm lying. Both Bryant and the woman acknowledged mutual flirting when she gave him a tour of the upscale lodge, and she accepted his invitation back to his room, where they engaged in hugging and kissing. And after that, of course, the rape took place, because her behavior prior to that, the hugging, kissing, and flirting, was entirely innocent. We won't go there, however. Of course, I might not have even actually read that article. I might have made all of that up, because if I actually read what was in the article... Stop it, Randy. And I actually read what was in the article, some of you out there might have thought I was lying. So, I will lie, because I'm afraid some of you might think I'm lying. Now this is a classic. This is from September the 1st. For those of you not familiar with Fort Collins, we have a college here, CSU, the Colorado State University. And every year here at CSU, we have our obligatory riots. We had a couple of riots just before the current session started. Pretty big, 500 people, tear gas, all that good stuff. It's fun. Anyhow, this is a letter written to the Collegian, which is the CSU newspaper, from somebody named Dalton Varvel, V-A-R-V-E-L, the Varvel? I don't know. He is a Colorado State alumni. Graduated in 2004. He thinks he's an alumni, right? Anyhow, there were a series of riots here. Riots consisting of college students at college parties near CSU campus. This is his letter. To the editor. While the reasons for the riots, August 21st and August 22nd, are absent, did it ever occur to Chuck Fogland, the president of the CSU College Republicans, that perhaps some of the students who participated in the riots were expressing disgust with the Bush administration and the seemingly endless war in Iraq? No one knows the motives of the rioters who participated, except the rioters themselves. But is it beyond the realm of possibility that it was a profound form of political expression? The behavior of the rioters was certainly deplorable and inexcusable, no matter what the motive. However, the denunciation of the rioters by Fogland and the college Republicans is unwarranted. The reckless, pointless, and destructive behavior that occurred in Fort Collins pales in comparison to what reckless, pointless, and destructive behavior is going on in Iraq right now, because George W. Bush decided to put us at war. So, here we go. Let's listen to the typical liberal Democrat logic here. Nobody knows why the rioters rioted except for them, but maybe it was because of George Bush. I know. I mean, yeah, and if you're listening to this and you're not laughing already, then you probably never will, because I mean, maybe you're either a Democrat or you've just never encountered college life, okay? The idea that 500 students at a house party decided to riot in the middle of the street and burn couches because George Bush sent people to Iraq is ridiculous. It has nothing to do with it. And this is how the Democrats try to politicize. Well, yeah, the Republicans do the same thing. I can't. Yeah. Yes, those of you out there who are Democrats will be happy because soon I'm going to get around to some Republican bashing. There's some in the stack, trust me. But to sit here and say that they rioted because of the war in Iraq and the where is it the la 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 I have yes da 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 where is the exact word, the seemingly endless war in Iraq. We ain't been there that long. I mean, seemingly endless compared to what? I mean, it's not seemingly endless compared to Vietnam. It's not seemingly endless compared to a John Kerry speech. It's not seemingly endless as compared to listening to a Democrat drone on and on and on about how capitalism is evil. So I'm not sure what this seemingly endless thing is. But did it ever occur? Some of the students who participated in the riots were expressing disgust with the Bush administration. No, it probably didn't occur to him. It didn't occur to me. It didn't really occur to anybody except for you. This is... Oh, where is the other... Where's the thing that goes with this? Where? Well, well, yeah, they do go together. Yes, there it is. Thank you. The Danbury meant these people are shameless. Well, you know, this isn't even. I got this in the mail the other day. Well, many moons ago, actually. A powerful symbol of freedom. Now more than ever, the American people have a sense of unity and allegiance to our country's most cherished ideals. Representing the very essence of this American spirit of freedom and achievement were the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center. There is no greater tribute to the resilience of our national soul than these two majestic towers captured in all their original magnificence. Right, they're hawking this little sculpture thing of the World Trade Center. There is no greater tribute to the resilience of our national soul than these two majestic towers captured in all their original... Yeah, I mean, this attempt to link not just patriotism, I mean, they're attempting to link our soul in this thing. People have a sense of unity and allegiance to our country's most cherished ideals. I mean, they're attempting to link all of this to the World Trade Center. I mean, I can tell you for a fact the World Trade Center is not one of my most cherished ideals. As an American, my cherished ideals would include freedom of religion. They would include the freedom from search and seizure. They would include limited government. They would include things like personal choice. My most cherished ideals would certainly include capitalism. But even if you want to say capitalism, this is not embodied by the World Trade Center. I mean, it's this terrible attempt to link what being an American is to a building, and it's not working. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just not as stupid as other people. Maybe this thing's selling like crazy. Yeah, Alabama. Everybody down there might have one. No, because, I mean, people... No, because, I'm from the South, and I don't give a flying fuck about New York. See, I don't think anybody in Alabama is buying that. I don't think anybody in Alabama gives a fucking rat's ass about New York or the World Trade Center. I mean, sure, they feel bad for the people who died there. I'm not saying that. But that, yeah, I mean, I love to see the psychological makeup of people who buy that thing. Freedom Tower breaks ground on WTC site. I predicted way back when this happened, and eventually this is going to get on the website. I've written this very long discourse right after 9/11 happened, but anyway, I predicted right after this that they would build a monument on the site of the WTC, in that it would be large and shiny, for the simple reason that the average American is impressed by things that are large and shiny, and this makes them really gullible, stupid, and easy to manipulate. Now this is from July. Yes. A ceremony Sunday officially began construction on the new building at the World Trade Center site, the Freedom Tower. Designed as a twisting glass and steel tower that evokes the Statue of Liberty nearby, organizers say it will be the world's tallest skyscraper. The building is to stand 1,776 feet, its height symbolizing the year the United States became independent from Britain, at the Sunday groundbreaking coinciding with U.S. Independence Day. To tell people that 1776, I mean, how many people could read that and not make the connection between 1,776 feet tall and 1776? Unfortunately, probably a lot of people. But, yeah, all I've got to say about this is I said that they were going to put something there that was going to be big and shiny, and people are going to think this is just the greatest thing ever. And, once again, I was right. Why? Because I can't help it. I'm always right. I open my mouth, words come out, they're right. Unlike large percentages of Americans, assessing America's political IQ, I think we just assessed it in the last election. We saw that we had Kerry and Bush. That was a pretty good indication that the American political IQ is pretty low. Hot tea. This is from August the 22nd. Assessing America's political IQ. Yeah. Oh wait, hold on. I have to figure out if this is this guy's name, or I guess it is. Michael X. Deli Caprini. Excuse me. Excuse me twice. Michael X. Deli Caprini and Scott Keatner, in their book What Americans Know About Politics and Why It Matters, looked at 3,700 survey questions posed between 1940 and 1994. The results do not inspire confidence. In 1945, only 45% knew that the government regulated radio. In 1952, only 27% could name 2 branches of government. In 1970, only 24% could identify the Secretary of State. In 1988, only 47% could locate England on a map. Overall, Americans knew the answers about 40% of the time. The numbers have remained fairly steady over the years. Deli Caprini points out that they mask differences among groups. Oh, yes. No. Women, minorities, and young people score low. Most of the ignorant aren't stupid, he says. They just lack motivation to learn, or access to information, or the education necessary to negotiate the system. Now let's take a key look at okay, so people are stupid. I've been telling you that. If you've listened to this before, the idea that people are stupid is not some new concept that you've only just now been exposed to. Women, minorities, and young people score low. And this is, of course, exactly why these are the people targeted by the Democrats. I don't know where you are, but where I am here in Colorado, there was a brief flurry near the beginning of the election season to lower the voting age to 16, which I thought was an excellent indication that Democrats knew they were going to lose, because they finally figured out that even 18-year-olds are smart enough to not be fooled by Democrats. I mean, when you have to get children to vote for you because you know they're not going to know any better, yeah, that pretty much indicates that it's over. Most of the ignorant aren't stupid, he says. They just lack motivation to learn. See, they're not stupid. They just lack motivation to learn. Well, I didn't kill him, officer. I didn't shoot him in the head with my pistol, officer. I just lacked motivation to let him live. I mean, what? Most of the ignorant aren't stupid, he says. They just lack motivation to learn. Great. They lack motivation to learn. That's why they should be making political decisions. I mean, and all this does is takes us back to what my beliefs about campaign, about voting reform, about how the only people who should be allowed to vote are people who are smart. Regardless of their minority or women or young people status, if you can pass the test, you should be allowed to vote. If you can't pass the test, we have, of course, have not talked about voting reform yet. That's another future thing. But, you know, most of the ignorant aren't stupid. They just lack the motivation. Yeah, I'd like to lack some motivation right upside their fucking heads. You know, if you can't find England on a map, why you should be making political decisions is beyond me. Now, I'm right, yeah, and don't misunderstand. I'm not saying that England matters, but you should be able to locate England on a map so that if they ever piss us off, we can nuke the little fuckers. Right. I mean, exactly. The most important country to know the location of is France, because that's the country we need to bomb more than any other country on Earth. I mean, yeah, now, alright, now if George Bush would have invaded France instead of Iraq, not only would the war have been over after how long would it take the French to surrender? 7-8 minutes? I mean, not only would the war would have been over almost instantly, but we could, yes! Bomb France. That's, yes, that's a yes, that's a great excuse us, Randy. Randy and I are having a moment of brilliance. We're bomb France. Okay, yes, the bomb France T-shirts will soon be available from On the Fly Photography. Give me a little time to design them. Yes! That's a great idea. Right, no, I don't want to say it yet because I don't want to give too much of it away. Alright. That's great. This piece of newspaper is so old it's yellow. Oh my god! This is a year old. Yeah, it's pretty bad when you've got a piece of newspaper sitting in your house from a year ago. This is from October the 5th, 2003. It's a cover story on the summer. It's because it's cold outside. I'm wishing it was warm. This is a cover story from the Sunday Denver Post, October the 5th, 2003. A year in the life of a female cadet. Now, women in the military. You know, I could go on for a long time, but I'm going to say just very briefly that I disapprove of it. And it's not just because they're women. I disapprove of a lot of things in the military. I disapprove of fat people in the military, of ugly people. Not, I'm kidding. Well, no, but look, you know, the purpose of the military is to kill people and break things. I don't approve of people in the military who are file clerks. I don't approve of people in the military who are x-ray technicians. The military does not exist to promote gender equality. It does not exist to promote colorblind societies. This does not exist for one reason and one reason only. Or so you would think. And see, this almost segues. The military exists to defend the United States of America from foreign aggression. Yeah, right, and it segues. We're not going there right now. Okay, so I'm gonna read. I'm just gonna read one thing from this article. One sentence. No, 2 sentences. I take that back. This is a caption under a photograph of this Air Force cadet looking in the mirror, doing her what do you call that stuff? Powdering her face, base. Ginny Gulliver touches up her makeup after a long day of classes. First-year cadets get little personal time. You know, it makes me feel safer to know that women in the Air Force have time to touch up their makeup. This is what's important in defending our nation. Touching up your fucking makeup. Women in the military. There's a joke. It is. Yeah, I know, and some people disagree, and who cares? You can't outlaw stupidity. This is from the Rocky Mountain Bullhorn, the July 14 issue. The title, You Can't Outlaw Stupidity. As is well known, Colorado became the 48th state in the nation to lower the definition of too drunk to drive from 0.1 to 0.08 blood alcohol concentration. And our legislatures no, one is enough, thank you. And our legislators had our safety in mind, right? He goes on some more, and this is a good thing to think about. I would never argue that drinking and driving should be permitted, but I wonder why making something illegal is the only way to deter people from doing something stupid. It's illegal to walk into traffic. It's illegal to leave your child alone in a hot car. And it's even illegal to try and off yourself. Shouldn't these actions be governed by the laws of common sense? And now, a campaign wants to place a referendum on the November ballot asking Coloradoans if they want the state cigarette tax quadrupled. By the way, that did pass. The state cigarette tax has shot up. Co-chair on the campaign is ex-CSU President Al Yates, also an ex-2-pack-a-day smoker. There's no greater enemy to smokers than an ex-smoker, and God, isn't that the truth? I hate... You know, it's a toss-up between Democrats and ex-smokers as to who I hate the most. I say, if you want to quit smoking, quit. Don't tax the addicts and pretend you are doing so in their best interest. I know those pushing this are not concerned with my welfare, but with the bottom line. You can't outlaw stupidity. And this is true. I mean, why... Now, as a libertarian, I look at things like this and we have to think, why is it every time somebody decides something is wrong or stupid or bad, we have to make it illegal and tax it? I mean, we're getting ready to tax fast food. And I read somewhere what I thought was a great idea. Somebody suggested, instead of, why don't we, if we're engaging in, if we're engaging in this battle against obesity, as we are. And remember, way back when the anti-tobacco Nazis said, we're doing it for your own good, and we're only going after cigarettes, and after that we're going to stop. People like me said, no, these people aren't doing it for your own good, and after they outlaw cigarettes, they're not going to stop. They're going to come after fast food next. And people said, no, they're not. Why, they're not going to do that. They care. They only want to save children. They're doing it for the children, to save them from cigarette smoke. They're not going to go after fast food. That's absurd. And now, of course, as I predicted, we see that the war on fast food is beginning. But why is it that we feel this need to make everything illegal? See, I think this is one of the best indications we have that this country is not a libertarian country. It's never going to be a libertarian country, at least not until we kill all these people off. Because there's a huge portion of the population who just simply believes anything they don't like should be made illegal. On one side you got the tobacco Nazis, you got the every sperm is sacred crowd, you got right, I'm not going to go down the list right now, but the point is, everybody always believes in freedom except for the things they don't like, and those things should be made illegal. Whereas, well, yeah, I do think, why should it be illegal to walk into traffic? No. Yeah. La. Alright, no. Randy's argument is walking into traffic doesn't just hurt you, it can hurt other people because if a car swerves to miss you, they could hit another car and cause a pileup and kill a bunch of people. Well, I don't deny the reality of that, but if you're building a house and you build a staircase in the house, somebody could fall down the staircase and kill themselves, right? Okay, then so should we make it illegal to build stairways? Yeah, exactly. You can't fucking make everything illegal just because it might be bad or it might be stupid. There's a lot of things that are bad or stupid. We can't make everything illegal. If you do make it, how the hell do you enforce all this stuff? You know, the more the more laws we have, and this is something that, where, I wonder if I can find it. I know it's in the file. Score! The underlying cause of crime in America is criminals. John Ashcroft. The underlying... No, it's not. The underlying cause of crime in America is the fact that we've made so much illegal. The more... the more things that we make illegal, the more people who will be criminals. Why am I the only person who's smart enough to see the fucking connection here? If you make it illegal to wear a red shirt, everybody wearing a red shirt will be a criminal. We say everything about how crime is going up in America. Well, of course crime is going up, because every fucking day something else is illegal. You keep making things illegal, you're going to have more crime. The underlying cause of crime in America isn't criminals. The underlying cause of crime is the government. The government makes things illegal. The government turns people into criminals for things like crossing the street against the light, for things like wanting to kill themselves, for things like smoking a marijuana cigarette in the privacy of their own home. None of these people would be criminals if it weren't for the government. The underlying cause of crime in America is the government. Subject of marijuana. Our friends in Congress, rejected the supremacy of state laws that legalize marijuana for medicinal purposes. That's so much for the states' rights, because I know that what I said there didn't sound very clear. They had the opportunity to give states the right to override federal laws against medical marijuana. That did not pass. What a surprise. In a tie vote, members, we're talking about the House here, in a tie vote, members refused to exempt bookstore and library records from the reach of the USA Patriot Act. Under the post-September 11 law, federal officials can use secret warrants to obtain such records. I just want to point out that this Patriot Act, the one which can be used to gather records from libraries and bookstores to find out what you've been reading, I want to point out this is the same Patriot Act about which John Kerry said, "I support the Patriot Act, I would just apply it differently." Meaning that he would only search the library records of Republicans, as opposed to George Bush, who only searches the library records of Democrats. And people wonder why I don't like Kerry. And I want to read this one because I'm surprised this even came up for a vote. This was back in July, but I'm surprised this even came up. Members defeated an amendment to H.R. 4754 that sought to end U.S. support of the United Nations, estimated at $3 billion yearly. Backers said the UN usurps U.S. sovereignty, while foes called it vital to U.S. security. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm surprised that even was voted on there. How many people? 83 people voted for it. There's 83 people who believe that we need to get out of the United Nations. I couldn't agree more. Excuse me. If it was up to me, we would be out of the United Nations in a heartbeat. We give those people money. We give them a place to hang out. We let them record. Yeah. No, it's too bad the terrorists didn't fly their little airplanes into the United Nations headquarters. That would have been A lot better in my humble estimate. Well, my estimation is never humble, but it would have been better. I don't like the United Nations, just in case anybody out there is wondering. What is this? I have this here for a reason. I must. I probably do. TV fears GOP suppression and media consolidation. You know, the Hollywood community is incredibly distraught about the election results, says Vanessa Taylor, co-creator and co-executive producer of WB's Jack and Bobby. I'd say we are in a state. I'm going to learn to read in a minute. I'd say we're in a state of shocking disappointment. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, you people love it. If the evil Republicans weren't trying to censor television, what would you have to whine about? I think what they need to be more worried about than being censored by evil Republicans in the Bush administration, they need to figure out how to make some television shows somebody wants to watch. Yeah, right, it's pretty hard. You girly men, Schwarzenegger. Arnold, he says girly men. That was funny stuff, girly men. When he called them a bunch of girly men. That was great. That was great. What is this? Does not need to be in this stack. This is no. That goes in the research stack. Thank you. Yes. Yes. Okay. Yep. This goes into the drunken student stack. We'll get to that in the next edition. La 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 la. What is going on here? Oh, this was fascinating. This was a letter from, I saw this letter in a couple of different publications. What? You're kidding. Oh, holy crap. The music is starting. Alright. Well, we're going to have to save it then, because Oh, we got to talk about this too, because this goes right along with the stupid people voting. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we'll just run it down. We'll play the music. We're out. We'll come back for another session, and then then absolutely more tea. Also, we're gonna need more hot tea. Without a doubt.